Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Live, Love, Life, and Travel. This is your girl Shamika, and today's topic of discussion is forgiveness, and it's something I've definitely had to practice and do in my life, and I think it's important that a lot of us do much more of it, and not because to say what you've done to me is okay, but to let it go and move on. As you know, even if you don't know, I was severely physically, emotionally, visually, mentally, and sexually abused from the majority of my childhood. And even beyond that, I have also been sexually assaulted, and I even been in an abusive relationship, and just other people shitting all over me. People could be assholes, and I've had to practice a lot of forgiveness, and it can be really hard because someone does something wrong to you almost purely because they feel like they just want to fucking be assholes. It's hard to like let that go sometimes. But let's start. Like, I've definitely had to start my forgiveness journey with my mother. My mother literally did things that seemed like she was trying to destroy me, and like just hated me and wanted to do, like, she read a rule book of how to destroy your children for dummies or something. Like, she did everything she could to like knock me down, and I felt like she did everything in her power to keep me there. She felt like she just didn't want me to ever grow up and have a normal adulthood. And so I had to start with that, and it wasn't easy, and it's still a process. I think when I first ran away, I thought that I forgave her pretty easily, and I think it was because I was just more consumed with this newfound life that I had, and this newfound confidence, and all these things that I got to do, and the doors opening, and me realizing that my life could be good, that I didn't really focus on my past too much, and I didn't really focus on my mother or the abuse. And so I just lived like a few years not even really thinking about it, and then I think like in my early 20s, it started hitting me out of nowhere, and I went through this stint of like anger because like when I first started my spiritual journey, I was like hardcore into church and Christianity, and went through all these sort of like rounds of deliverance and delivering me from sadness and depression and anger and bitterness, and I thought that I let that all go. I thought I had forgiven her and let it go, and I had moved on. But for some reason, all of a sudden, all these emotions and all this anger started to come up, and I started to just have to deal with that, and fell into like a lot of depression. Just so like not little things, but things like I have a bunch of scars that my mom left on me. Like, I have a scar on my breast. I don't know if you can see it. If not, I'll just show it in another video. And I have some scars on my arm and on my back and on my upper thigh. But especially the one on my breast is the one that I would always get more angry about, because as a woman, depending on what kind of woman you are or whatever, but your breast is sort of supposed to be a sensual, sexual part of your body, and sort of have it sort of like scarred. It kind of angered me, especially when you're that young age, when you want to feel sexy when you put a bikini on or a bra or whatever. And so I would just look at that and look in the mirror and just be like, oh, fuck her. Like, it was hard for me. And then I also had to go through, like, my cousin molested me when I was little for a year, and I would like wonder to myself, like, if my cousin never molested me and my mom never abused me, would I be a better person? Would I be further along in my life? Would I be more successful? Would I've have had more successful relationships? I don't know, like, and so I would hold on to that anger, like, God, I would be such a better person. I would be such a more well-rounded, healthy human being if it wasn't for those people in my life. Also, I went through an abusive relationship, and he wasn't abusive through the whole relationship. It was just the one instant at the end, but I'll talk about this in another story, but there was definitely red flags throughout the relationship. Anyway, towards the end, he pretty much beat the crap out of me, and I went through so much anger. Like, I have never felt that type of anger and that type of hatred for anybody ever. Like, not even my mom. And I think maybe because I expected it from her, but from him, like, this is one of the first boyfriends I had, and he was somebody I fully put all my trust into, and then he broke it. And I think that was the part that I was just so angry about, and I literally, like, I felt it so intensely inside my body that it actually scared me. So how did I start to forgive these people? How did I start to get on this journey of forgiveness? And I think, as corny as it sounds, it's like I started to look at them as a person to see what made them the way they are. And starting with my mother, like, I went from being really angry at her to really feeling really sorry for her. I remember when I was younger, when I was very young, before the abuse started, I thought my mom was such a vibrant, just a vibrant woman. I thought she was strong and beautiful and creative, and I felt like she could take the world by its balls and do whatever she wanted with them. I wanted to be her. I wanted to be just like my mom. I thought she was like Wonder Woman. She had this smile that would just like beam and light up the room, and she can just, you know, catch someone's attention and carry an audience. And then I watched that slowly disappear out of her. I watched that slowly drain out of her. It's like all this bitterness and anger and hurt that she held on to because of her own childhood and because of past relationships, that she literally let it destroy her. She let it disintegrate any good she had inside her, and it turned her to a different person. And that's no excuse, none whatsoever, for child abuse at all, none. And I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I had to see what her weaknesses were, and I had to see her hurt and her pain to be able to forgive her. And I am not exaggerating when I say that. No matter all the things she did to me, if I could give my right arm or my leg, or if I could spend, bet $1 billion or wave a magic wand to take all that pain away from her, I would do it in a split second. I don't think this is what God was meant for her. I don't think this was the person she was supposed to become, but it is the person she allowed herself to become. And I think that's another reason why I decided to forgive her, because I saw what holding on to that anger and that bitterness and that hurt can do to somebody. Like, anger is one of the most powerful, destructive emotions someone can have and hold on to. Anger causes people to kill one another. Like, it causes someone to go in rage and destroy someone that they were probably madly in love with. Anger is a powerful emotion that you should never hold on to like gold or anything. Like, it usually stems from hurt. It usually stems from being hurt and being vulnerable, being hurt, and then that turns into anger, because it's easier to express anger than express hurt. And now, like, my mom is in her 50s, maybe close to 60. I'm not really sure. I haven't seen my mom in many of years. Probably like, I don't know, a good 11 years or something I've seen her. And then before that, I didn't see her for a good, like, another, I don't know, a while. I haven't seen her in a while. My mom had 3 kids, and 2 of her kids aren't talking to her, and the majority of our family isn't talking to her. She's alone and she's isolated, even though she plays the victim like it's everyone else's fault. It has to suck to be her, basically. And I do think the time's gonna come, and maybe it already has come, and I don't know, that she's gonna have to like reap what she sowed via just realizing what she has done in her life, and how she allowed herself to be straight, and how she allowed herself to become this thing. Yeah, so, and you might be asking, is my mom really that bad? Let's just say grown-ass man run away from her. Like, let's just say, like, people have felt like their life has been in danger when she's been in their presence. My mom is a destructive human being. And so I think that allowed me to forgive her, to see her hurt and her pain, and it helped. It helped. And it's like that whole like corny saying is when someone's getting bullied, and usually the bully who's bullying is because that bully is being hurt themselves. it kind of was like that. And it was the same way I had to look at it when it came to forgiving my cousin and my ex-boyfriend. It's like, my cousin molested me and maybe someone molested my cousin, and no excuse. I'm not giving these people excuses. I'm just saying that these are the tools and the things that I use to help me forgive other people. And it's not for that person. People, like, I have a friend who, it's getting really dark, so I hope that you guys can still see me. I'm trying to like catch the light here. I have a friend who, a close friend, who had a brother that he lent a large amount of money to, and it's been some years now, and that brother hasn't paid him back. And every single time he talks about his brother, his whole body changes. Like, he gets so angry and his face turns red and he's sweating and he's just like so mad, and he says stuff like, I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna fucking kill him, I'm gonna hire someone to beat his skull in and da-da-da. And I'm just like, okay, so if you hire someone to beat your brother's skull and you really think that's gonna make you feel better? He's like, yeah, it's gonna make you feel better. And I'm like, no, it's not. Because now you have to be guilty that your fucking brother is in a hospital or dead, and now your mom is freaking out because she lost her child, and your father is crying because he lost their child, and your sister is crying because she lost a brother. That's really gonna make you feel better about yourself. And it's like, I tell them, like, you have to hold on to, because I was like, look at yourself, look at your physical changes that you go through every single time you talk about your brother. Now think about your brother. Do you think he goes through the same physical changes that you're going through when he thinks about you? No. The only person that's suffering in this anger is you. The person that you're actually angry at isn't suffering. So in trying to cause suffering or revenge on that person isn't going to take your pain away. You have to just mentally and emotionally make that decision that I'm going to let this go. Money is not everything, and I understand it's more of a respect thing, but it's still, money is not everything. And so for me, forgiveness is not for that person. It's not to say that it was okay what you did to me, it was fine, I let it go, it wasn't a big deal. Fucking brain. It's for you. It's to let you go. Because like I said, I saw what anger and hurt and bitterness and jealousy and all that stuff can morph into, and I've seen what it can do to people and how it can change people for the worst. And some people, doesn't even seem like they can come back from it. So for me, I saw that and I was like, that is not going to be me. I am not going to be my daughter's mother. I'm not going to be my mother's daughter in that way. I'm not going to take the bad and keep running with it. I'm going to break this chain right now, because I'm not going to pass it down to my children. And I think that's why it's so important to forgive. You have to let it go, because it's really not hurting anyone else except you. So the person who victimized you is now continuously victimizing you, because now you're victimizing yourself by holding on to that and allowing it to fester inside of you and change you as a person and affect your daily life. And if you really think that holding on to that isn't affecting you, then you're very, very wrong. You need to let it go, and you need to fucking move on, because you are worth it. The person who hurt you doesn't deserve your time anymore. They don't deserve your energy anymore. They don't deserve your tears anymore. You are better than that, and you deserve better than that. So you need to move on. And it's not an easy thing to do. I'm not saying it's easy at all. It's hard. And am I saying that I'm forgiving people? It is a continuing evolution of forgiveness. There are still times when I look at my scars and I still get like a little bit of so it's always continuing, but to me it's very, very much worth it. I'm not going to let people who hurt me to continue to hurt me by holding on to the hurt. If that made any sense. So it's important to forgive, and it's an extreme part of the journey of healing. So if you want to heal, you have to forgive. You can't get there without that. My father wasn't there when I was younger. He left when I was a little kid, and I was too young to remember him. He came back into my life a few years ago, and if you would have asked me before that if I would have ever forgiven my dad or had a relationship with my dad, I would have been like, hells to not, that fuck you, that's never gonna happen. I didn't ever feel like I was angry at my dad. I didn't even feel like I had daddy issues, but I did have daddy issues. I think girls with daddy issues don't ever realize they have daddy issues. But he contacted me through Facebook. He contacted me, and then had other people contact me. And at first I was like, fuck off, no, go away. I have nothing to do with you. And then finally he was just like, all I ask from you is your forgiveness. And I've always said the only thing I've ever owed my mom and my dad is forgiveness, because I want them to be able to unburden themselves, and I want them, you know, when it comes to like even my mother, when she ever comes to the realization of what she's actually done to her children, I want her to be able to unburden from that, because I want her to continue. I want her to be able to start her healing journey. So I always said I owe them that forgiveness, because they did give me life. And so I said, of course I forgive you. I forgave you a long time ago. Like, I just don't want nothing to do with you. But he persisted, and he said, what do you think about me coming out? And I was like, sure, but I thought he was bullshitting, but within 2 weeks he was out. Long story short, me and my dad are bestest friends now. Like, I love my dad. I love him so much. And I think allowing my dad in my life has actually allowed me to let go of some of my daddy issues. I think he's awesome, and it was so hard to stay mad at him too, because we're so alike, which was awesome, because like I grew up as a kid thinking I was this big fucking weirdo, and meeting knowing my dad now, I was like, oh, it's because I was like my dad, that's why I was so weird. And he definitely like owed up to his part. He gave me the whole story about what happened, which all made sense knowing my mom, but in the end he said that, but when it comes down to it, I just didn't try hard enough, and that was my fault. And to me, that was like, okay, you get a chance. And since I let him back in, I definitely don't regret it at all. If I would have held on to that anger, I would have missed out on having a relationship with my father and a relationship with my father's family. Now I have another grandma and uncles and cousins. So not everybody, and when I say forgiveness, I don't think that means you forgive that person and that person's allowed back into your life. Not necessarily, that's not what I mean, because I'm forgive my mom, and I'm still forgiving my mom, but will I ever have a close relationship with my mother? No. And anything's possible, but my mom can't be trusted. Like I would never leave a child alone with her. So she's someone I forgive, but I forgive you, and now you can stay over there. Like, so anyway, that is my story. Forgiveness is a key to healing and letting go. If you have any comments or any questions for me, feel free to leave them below. If you have any of your own stories of forgiveness that you want to share, or any of your struggles with forgiveness that you want to share, please feel free to comment below. We all learn from this. If you like this video, please like it. If you want to follow my journey, please subscribe. I'm sorry the sun is going down, but I don't want to really record this video. Thank you from Live, Love, Life, and Travel.
This is me on the regular, so you know. Yeah, you know that I go. This is me on the regular, so you know. This is me on the regular, so you know.